Hey y'all, welcome to the Deep Fried Free Thinkers Answering the Critics, Part 2.
Today we're going to talk about a little bit of the controversy surrounding Merry Christmas versus Happy Holiday. And where else should we find this but on WTVA Channel 9's news site. And this serves the Golden Triangle area around West Point, Tupelo, Columbus, Starkville, that area, and most of Northeast Mississippi.
Yep, which is kind of where we're located.
Yeah, so this hit rather home to us. Basically, the staff of WTVA got together and they did this really pretty holiday video that it's probably one of the most inclusive ones I've ever seen. It was very festive.
Indeed.
It was very entertaining. And they actually did a couple of different versions of it, but it's basically the same thing. And I wish we could play it for you, but we can't. But I will put a link down bottom so that you can check it out if you want to.
They had made a comment earlier in their comments of this that they had made so many good clips that they had to make two different versions.
Which we think was just kind of their excuse for putting one up that says Happy Holidays on the still and the other one says Merry Christmas. But essentially it was the same video.
Yeah.
It was just titled two different ways.
Slides were moved around a little bit.
And it was done just because we've got some folk who at Christmas time, for whatever reason, have to get their panties in a wad. And the thing of it is, I'm not talking about militant aggressive atheists. I'm talking about people who claim to be Christian.
Now, didn't you say that this had happened one time before? They had gotten so much slack that they pulled the video?
I don't think it was a video, like it was a graphic they had either last year or the year before. I want to say the year before on their website. It was a very pretty one that said Happy Holidays. And people just threw a freaking fit. Merry Christmas. It's got to say Merry Christmas. And they took it down and put up one that said Merry Christmas. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
Well,
absolutely ridiculous.
Before we get into this, I just want to clear up something. They complain about it. Do they not realize what the background is around the word holiday? It's holy day.
Exactly. So, if we were just so offended, then we wouldn't even use the word holiday.
Right.
But the offense largely is not on our side. The only time that most atheists get really upset is when you have nativities or religious things on government property, because it shouldn't be.
No, unconstitutional.
Right. Or, the courts have said if you're going to have one religion represented, you have to have all. And they don't want equal representation.
No.
Anybody that tells you that's probably just messing around, because we've seen what happens when we try to put up signs or displays of our own. They just throw a freaking fit about it. So it's not the case that, we just want everybody to be able to have a spot. It's we want all the spots and screw you. If you don't like it, you can leave. This is America and we're a Christian nation.
Well, I mean, it would have been any different if the Westboro Baptist Church were to go in and put up a sign.
Can you imagine what kind of sign they'd put up in the holidays? It would be something terrible.
Yes. I really don't want to speculate, but...
Yeah, it'd be like Santa Claus is a fag in hell or something. It would be horrid.
Something. The mayor of the city says, okay, everybody is allowed to put whatever religious denomination they are to represent themselves on government property. Then they have to let them. I mean, by his own words, they have to let him. But they don't want that. Yeah,
and just to reaffirm what we said earlier, the DFFT's official position on this issue, we would prefer that government remain neutral. There not be any displays. We've got plenty of private property, plenty of churches, plenty of stuff that can be used for that. We promote government neutrality. We've got all this tax-free land that churches sit on. Huge amounts of tax-free land.
Oh, and we have pictures to prove.
Yeah, we're
just
working on
every church we ran across had some kind of nativity scene or a Christmas tree.
Yeah, more often a Christmas tree.
And they're not being limited. They're on their own property. It's private property.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, they're so quick to vilify us as being Grinches and Scrooges and we're taking away Christmas. But I think the truth is that most people have either lost their ability or their desire to decorate a great deal or to go out a great deal and spend a lot. And I think, with the times that we're in right now, I think you can kind of understand that. I don't think it's that atheists are being killjoys. I think it's people either don't care or just can't afford to go out, buy gaudy, tacky lights and string them up in a great big optical fiber Christmas tree that...
No, they're not all gaudy and tacky.
No,
there are some very beautiful Christmas seasonal holiday, whatever you want to call it, decoration and lightings that we've come across.
Oh, yes. First of all, we're just going to, like I said, I can't show you the video, but I can show you some panels from it. And this one, the still that you see on it is Happy Holidays. This was not even, I don't think, the beginning of the video. The still.
This is the ending still for this particular video.
Right.
The alternate or the other one that it ends with the words "Merry Christmas" on it. So they
Okay.
purposely made two different ones, but they're not trying to.
Yeah, so here
See.
you got the little elf sitting here who I swear looks like he's about to take a leak. He's looking around to see if somebody's taking a leak, but it's got the happy holidays. And then 7 seconds into the video, okay? I think I actually have up there 0.07 seconds, but you get my point. It's supposed to be 7 seconds. They put Merry Christmas up there in English with 2 arrows pointing
Very
to
large, 2-foot long
Yeah,
arrows
'cause we don't
pointing,
want you to miss
so you
it.
draws your attention. Look, we put "Merry Christmas" in the video.
it. Exactly.
Pretty,
7 seconds into the video, we have our first Merry Christmas.
Uh-huh.
Alright, moving right along, we end up with Feliz Navidad, which is Merry Christmas in Spanish. We have it in sign language, and we have some ladies with a sign which is religious, generally Christian, that says peace on earth, although I think that's an idea most of us can get behind.
No,
But it's still a religious reference. So, where do you see Christian persecution anywhere in this? Any sign of Christian persecution? I don't see it.
I don't see it.
But guess what?
See it.
Within 5 minutes of this video being put up,
Yeah.
people were already whining. It's Merry Christmas. What happened to Merry Christmas? Are y'all politically correct? What? Really? Keep Christ in Christmas.
Wow.
Jesus is the reason for the season. Why? Is he the one pushing the earth over on his axis? Really? Okay, 5 minutes into the thing, they've got it posted and people are already bitching. And there's no reason to bitch.
That's true. It obviously they just waited till the end of it. I don't know.
I'm wondering if they even watched it or if they just looked at it and says, "Oh, happy holidays. Ooh, I'm gonna get mad and write something."
Is that the thumb that's showing at the beginning before you even click on it?
Yeah, I mean that's the still that shows up. It looks just like that. It says
Wow.
Happy Holidays.
Yeah, so they hadn't even watched it. They've already
it's
just
like
assumed.
they didn't even watch it. They were just like, "Oh, look, an opportunity for me to get up on the cross. Here, hand me the hammer and nails. Let me nail myself up here." It's ridiculous and it's disgraceful. But as much as it's probably somewhat tacky to do this, we're going to do it anyway, and we're going to show you the main offenders in this little drama. And I will admit I took part in it, and I was probably nicer than I should have been. But we're just going to go through here.
There was plenty of chocolate that day, I swear.
We're going to go through here and look at these comments, and I think you're going to see a pattern when you look at these and you start looking at other pages with comments about this sort of thing. You're going to start seeing some patterns develop in this persecution complex. You're going to hear some things repeated over and over. So that's what we're going to talk about. Here we go. First of all, we have Amy. I want to introduce Amy. You're going to see quite a bit of, and of course she's got to have the random caps lock because you've just got to have the caps lock. Nothing says I'm a whining, know-nothing person like random caps. It's just not good for them. So here she goes with, "We're proud to say Merry Christmas." All caps. Sorry, but how many times was Merry Christmas in that video?
At least 3.
At least 3, and along with peace on earth. Okay.
Now, there is some foreign language that I did not get a decipher on.
There was some look like Japanese.
Mhm.
That might have even been Christmas, but we don't
No,
know Japanese.
don't know for sure.
But
If
it
someone
would
knows,
surprise me
please
if
correct
was
it.
I mean, look at this. Jesus is the reason for this season. I'm happy I was raised to give Jesus respect. Well, good for you, sweetheart. Good for you. Because December 25th is Jesus' birthday. If it wasn't, there wouldn't be a holiday. Has anybody told the pagans that?
Yeah, need to do a little bit of history. Just a personal reference. I have a cousin through marriage that just recently had posted something right before we did, some of this this posting. She had posted something up there about someone said Happy Holidays, and threw this huge fit about Merry Christmas, put Christmas, she was all on it. And I'm like, oh no, please don't tell me you're going to jump on this wagon and scream the woe is me complex.
Yeah, because it's worse when it's your own blood doing it.
It is.
Oh.
She's not directly blood, but she's still
kin by
family,
marriage, yeah.
It's like, come on. I was doing
There's
good.
responsibility that comes with this name.
Okay, so I let it go for a little bit, and about 7 hours later, her and her mother had gotten into a conversation.
Now, her mother is...
She was studying as a Jehovah's Witness
Okay.
with my uncle,
Mm-hmm.
and they had gotten into some discussion, and my aunt took the... I don't want to say it's the higher road, but she took the logical approach by having her look up the background of Christmas.
So you have a witness here correcting
Now this
A
is
mainstream believer.
exactly,
I love it.
and she's hardcore mainstream
Yeah.
because that's what she got into some trouble when she was younger. She found God,
Yeah,
and
don't
she's
they
on
all?
the straight and narrow now. Okay, now witnesses do not celebrate Christmas
Right. Or any other
or
holidays.
any other
Or
holidays.
birthdays.
All right, 7 hours. She comes back and she said, "Okay, Mom and I had this talk. We went through the history of, and did you know?" And she brought out Saturnalia and the pagan holiday and the pagan tree. The different information of what made up Christmas now, and how it had been turned into a consumerism, and how it had been twisted, all in so many different ways. Okay. Now, 14 hours after her original post, she came back and just said, "I'm sorry for the earlier rant. I accept that Happy Holidays is a more universal way of saying Merry Christmas to anyone who is not of Christian faith." I finally chimed in and said, "I'm glad that you were able to find the information and look it up. It's a lot harder for a devout Christian to accept these things unless they find it themselves. It's just like a Christian yelling at an atheist about believing in God. It's the same way around. If anyone is telling a Christian that there's no, that Christmas is wrong, they're not going to believe it until they see it themselves."
I think that's a trend that you find universally in humans. We generally don't like to be corrected. We don't want to be corrected. We don't want to hear it. I'm no exception. When I was growing up, it was a source of shame for me to be corrected because I felt like I had to always be right. And I don't mean that in the sense, well, I'm always right and you're wrong, but I have to be perfect. I have to be right. I can't make mistakes. So if I was ever criticized or corrected, it was a big source of shame. It's only through my pursuit of skeptical inquiry that I have been able to accept correction and be grateful.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who can accept correction when it's warranted, I don't care who you are. I think that's a stuff.
And the biggest thing was, I was really proud of her. The biggest thing was that she had an open mind. Her mother, just presented her with some facts, gave her, some stuff to go look up on her own.
Yeah.
And she went and looked it up on the internet, on her own. She didn't go to, religious books that would be, biased on the information. She just pulled it, up on the internet and looked up, the history of Christmas.
Sure, it's there for anybody that wants to read it.
Right, it is.
And but you're still going to hear this, even though people generally know it now. And I didn't know it when I was a kid. But you're still going to hear some people say, "But this is Jesus' birthday. He's the reason for the season." Even if it didn't really happen December 25th, if that wasn't the exact day, it doesn't matter because this is the day we celebrate. No, this is the day you celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
And may I remind them, not all Christians do. Not only the witnesses, but the churches of Christ do not celebrate Jesus' birthday as a religious holiday.
This is true.
So, when you start screaming about how Christians are persecuted and offended, there are at least two in that group of Christians that are not being persecuted and offended. And so, actually, you're probably doing the one offending them if you're screaming about how we got to keep Christ in Christmas. I can't count the number of times I've seen people I'm close to who are members of the Church of Christ roll their eyes when they hear that because it's ridiculous.
It is.
But you're going to hear it. You're going to hear Jesus is the reason for the season.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess he's leaning against the earth and about to knock it over into the sun. Axial tilt.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
All right. The next comment's by Sue Kirk. I believe this is the only one she put on here. And I got to tell you, if I wrote this, I don't think I'd ever write anything on the internet again. Sue says, "Merry Christmas," with 4 or 5 exclamation points, because you can't have too many of those.
No, they're free.
"He came to earth and died for you so you could have this television station. And now you want to leave him out of all your blessings." This comment got 5 likes.
There's at least 5 people from the television station. That's liking it.
So, Jesus came to earth so we could have WTVA. And because their first frame shot says Happy Holidays, they're leaving. So, really?
Sometimes when you turn on the news, it's not always good. So
Yeah.
why would, Jesus give you bad news? Wait a minute.
I really just don't think she watched the video.
No, I don't think so.
If I were her, I'd be so embarrassed. I think I would let some time go by before I showed my face. I think I'd just delete that Facebook account and start over. Because that's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for her.
Sue
That
Part
is
2.
a ridiculously stupid statement.
Or Sue 2.0.
Yeah, I think I would definitely come back with Sue 2.0 because Sue Beta, honey, really?
That ship sunk.
Yeah.
Alright, moving along.
We get now to Rocky, who was also pretty much a one-shot wonder. I took him on and he decided not to say anything. Matter of fact, nobody ever answered my question. My question was, why is it that the video has Merry Christmas in it, and yet they're saying it doesn't, and then they're turning around and acting hateful toward us and hateful toward WTVA and not acting like Jesus said. And of course, they don't answer that question. They don't want to answer that question.
Of course not.
And we're going to see how they dance around it. But Rocky says, it's not Happy Holidays, WTVA. It's
Merry
in
Christmas.
all caps. Are you afraid you might offend someone? Shame on you for running that spot. Shame on you for putting together that pretty video that said Merry Christmas 3 freaking times.
And you know what? The people that were in that video,
Yeah.
just an aside, majority of those people are never seen the whole time that you're watching WTVA.
Really?
Because those are the people behind the scenes that make that station what it is.
And this was their chance to do something really pretty.
They got
and
to show
fun and
face
be on
and do.
TV.
Yeah,
And look at how they're ruining it. And it's not the atheist ruining it.
No.
Who is it? It's these butthurt believers. I think that's what Alan Michael called them, butthurt. And that's exactly what they are. I need to send them all some Super Ass Guard 20.
Yeah, if we can get that sponsor back.
I swear. It's just, are you afraid you might offend someone? No.
That's about the most least offensive
I don't think you could find a less offensive
holiday,
video.
Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. They mentioned
Even Festivus. They mentioned Festivus for the rest of us. It was so cute.
Oh, that's horrible.
What the hell do you want?
Who did they leave out?
All right, now we're going to start here with Amy again. And like I said, Amy's going to run through this a good part, and then we're going to have somebody else come in. And I'm going to try to break this down in small bites, but even though I have a lot of it highlighted. Amy says nothing is ever more important than the suffering Jesus did so we can live. Yes, there are important things to worry about, one being little by little we give in to the devil example. Happy holidays. And then she talks about how Jesus' birthday is moved to December 25th. It's the day we celebrate the day Jesus died for your sins. So he died on the same day he was born? What? Amy?
Okay, wait a minute. Sorry.
Amy!
I didn't catch that the first time or the third time I read it. Just had a serious brain fart. Oh.
She says, you
Where's
proved
my
our
anti-Amy
point because it
pills?
was moved. And December 25th is the day we celebrate the day Jesus died for your sins. No, it's not. You don't even know your own religion. How can you expect anybody to take you seriously when you don't even know anything about your own religion? That's what I want to know.
Oh.
Why should I listen to you? Why should I take you seriously? And why should I take you seriously regarding anything moral when you say the most important thing in the whole world is the fact that a Jewish guy was tortured and murdered, okay? Tortured and murdered, so that most of us would end up going to hell anyway.
Yeah, that.
Where's the morality in that?
I don't know. My head hurts. Where's my Amy aspirins?
I swear, I just don't get it. So, leaving Amy, we go to Susie, and this is another one-shot wonder. It's not a holiday, it's Christ Mass. Yeah, Christ Mass. That's Catholic. Are you Catholic? Didn't think so. If your skin is so thin that simple words are offensive, then it may be time you reevaluate your entire outlook on your life. Okay, who's the one that's offended?
How many minutes? It's like a day. It's like a day after.
Yeah, it's the next day because the video was posted at 3:25 p.m.
Okay.
All right, this is at 8:49 a.m.
All right. So the next morning, someone still hasn't watched the video because.
But they know enough to know.
It says Merry Christmas 3 times.
That they're offended because it doesn't have Christ in it. But then they tell you if your skin's so thin that these words are offensive, maybe you need to freaking reevaluate your brain. Because
yeah, that Festus one, that was a little sharp.
You're the one that's offended. And then you're telling us
What do you call that? Deflection?
It's projection.
Projection, sorry.
Yes. Susie, maybe you need to reevaluate your words. Okay? Because you're the one that's offended. Alright, moving right along. We get Keisha. Keisha is a joy. I mean, just a joy. She and I had words, and those are minutes of my life I'll never get back. Some other person came on and was trying to educate people about the history of this thing. And in the course of this, it was mentioned that Jesus was a dead guy. Now, I don't know that Jesus ever lived. That's up for debate. This person thinks, I guess, probably Jesus lived and is now dead. Keisha loses her shit. And she loses it over and over and over.
That's a lot of caps. Their limit.
Yes. I
Should.
feel for you, though, because you referred to my Lord, my Savior, the Prince of Peace, as a dead guy. Okay?
Well, technically, he is dead in body. I mean, if you are following the Bible true and fold, he came to life through birth and died a man of 30-some, 32, 31.
But he was resurrected.
And resurrected. But he is dead.
But resurrected.
He resurrected in spirit form, wasn't it?
Body, too, according to the Bible.
Really?
Although, remember, he couldn't be touched by women. You know, he invited Thomas to touch him, but not the women. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, we'll play that one later.
But Keisha's upset because somebody thinks Jesus is still dead. So she's like, oh, he's seated at the right hand of God, and you don't know that because you rejected him. I know that that's what your mythology tells you, but
Well,
I thought we were talking about a Christmas video.
Yeah,
Why are we screaming about the resurrected Jesus now?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in order to sit at the right hand of God, wouldn't you have to be in spiritual form?
Unless there's bodies in heaven, which some people think there will be.
Heavenly bodies, but not flesh.
I'm not a theologian. I can't
Yeah.
begin to guess. Yeah, so we've got this, Jesus is very much alive. Every knee will bow one day and confess. Okay, she forgot tongue. The tongue confesses, not the knee. You're going to hear this over and over.
And my
One
knees
day
start
you're
talking.
going to be sorry and you're going to confess. You're going to bow and confess. You know, I'm so holy because I'm doing it now, and you think you're just going to get away with it. I think it's jealousy. I think they look at our lives, you know, that we don't go to church, we don't pay tithes, and life treats us the same way it treats everybody else, and they're like, but it's not fair.
Well, you know, God has a Facebook page. Apparently, if he doesn't see you standing up for what his laws say, he'll dislike your page.
God's the only one with the dislike button.
Yes.
Well, you better watch out, because look what Keisha says in all caps. I will always praise him. I will praise him on Facebook. What was that verse? And I even quoted this to her about don't pray in public like the heathen.
Yeah.
You know, using repetitious words in vain that you may be seen of men. Jesus said don't do that.
And shouting from the corners. And,
yeah. I will praise him with my church family. I will praise him everywhere I go. Da-da-da-da-da. And, you know, that's fine. The thing of it is, I support her First Amendment right to do that.
Yes, indeed.
In her private life. And in the times and places where we have free speech.
Yes.
But, you know what? I get those rights, too.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't seem to like that. All these people don't seem to like that whenever we do that. But she says she'll shout it and whine it and sing it until the day he takes her home. A sinner just like you, but saved by grace through faith. And you'll hear that again. I'm not perfect, just forgiven. You know, which is just a way of saying, well, I can act any way I want to, but God will forgive me because he knows I can't help it. But now you're a filthy sinner. There's no hope for you without Jesus. But me, I can act however I want, you know, and I'll just go pray later and whoop-de-doo, clean slate.
Yeah.
So then she says, and this is the new thing I've been hearing over the last few years, and I hate this about worse than anything. I don't have religion. I have Jesus. You'll usually hear it as, it's not a religion, it's a relationship.
Okay.
One-sided,
maybe?
My relationship is with reality. I don't know what the hell yours is with, okay? And that's your business, as long as you keep it over yonder. But I hate to tell you, but if you have Jesus and you believe in Jesus, you have a religion too. That is a religion. If you say it's not, then I want you to stop claiming that that's your First Amendment religious freedom right.
Because it's no longer religious freedom.
That's right. If it's a relationship and not a religion, then it cannot legally be treated as religion. And that means your freedom goes away. Bye. Because you don't have the freedom to any kind of relationship you want. You should, but you don't. So, quit lying and saying it's not religion because it's freaking religion. We know bullshit when we see it.
Nothing.
Okay? Do you even stop to realize that a lot of this despair you listed earlier was not as bad many years ago before we started taking God and prayer away from the children? This is like the 50th time this week I've had to deal with that.
This is just a reoccurring theme. We always have it worse than our predecessors.
Mm-hmm. The world's always getting worse. About to come to an end.
Our previous generations had wars, but they had different types of conflicts. You had, well, in the 50s, you had the rights and the Cold War, which you had freedom of rights that Martin Luther King was pushing for in the 50s, and then
that was still the days of segregation.
right. So there was, that was a lot harder time for a lot of different people,
And for
especially
women.
in this,
Women's
the down
rights
south,
were severely
and women's
limited.
rights. I mean, there's a lot of things that we don't have a conflict with anymore.
Or at least not as much.
Not as much. There's no more, segregation. There's more women's rights than there were than in the 50s. Well, then we go to the 60s. In the 60s, same thing. We're still fighting for rights for all the people that make them equal. We had this war with Russia, so to speak, the Cold War, starting out with the race for space. There was the commies the commie was lapping over from the 50s into the 60s. So the early 60s, we still had, communists, red commies running around the States. Everybody was in fear of being on a list. And I mean, even if your parents weren't on that list, the kids were still in fear, that they didn't know for sure if their parents had changed names. I mean, there was all kinds of stuff.
There was a time when you could easily be picked up and looked at very severely. If
and that
thought you had
includes
allegiance to
hours and hours of detention or detainment. Then we go into the 70s. The 70s, you had Vietnam, this police action that
and we've had a lot of war since. We do have more war, but what we don't have is more violent crime. Our violent crime rates have actually decreased since the 90s.
Yes. They reached I guess you would call it a pinnacle point, and they have declined since then.
Yeah. And granted, we do have some problems. We have some serious problems in this nation. And we've got, I think, still some tough times ahead. But to just say, the world's just been going to hell in a handbasket ever since we took prayer out of school, that is a simplistic view for people who don't want to think. I mean, that's really what that is. People who are just too lazy to think.
I really want to know or have someone explain to me the component that prayer in school gives to society as a whole that makes the nation or the world
what
better.
magical property does a generic prayer, and I've actually had a cousin recently who said I offended her by saying that the word God is generic, but it is, get over it.
Well, God in general being a
like
generic
God
name.
We trust.
It is.
I mean, it's a title.
It's a title for it. It's labeling all the different gods that everyone believes in unanimously by using one word, God.
Yeah. And of course now, if you ask anybody, especially any white person here in Mississippi, they're going to tell you which God it is. It's Yahweh or Jesus. It's Christian God.
Two different people.
But, the court says it's ceremonial deism. It could be any God or any concept of God. And the point is that people are going to throw this up in your face about how, the world was great until we started taking prayer and Bible study out of school. If we just reinstate that, we'd get this nation back on the right track. That's bullshit.
And that is another topic for discussion.
Absolutely. But you're going to see that. And Keisha goes on to talk about how Jesus doesn't force himself on anybody. But his followers sure the fuck do. Boy, they don't mind it.
Oh, I have yet to meet a Christian family of at least 2 to 3 generations where when they raised their child, that child was not forced to go to a church, and at the age of 12 plus was given the option of which church they wanted to go to.
Yeah. And let me just put in a plug right here and remind you guys, we're talking about the pushy, obnoxious, know-nothing people. We're not necessarily talking about all Christians.
This is true.
You know if you fit in this category or not.
There are, some families that are more open and have allowed, once they get
that this stuff's complicated, and that they know. And I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about these folks.
Once their child has gotten a basic foundation of religion, then they are let out, and they're allowed to go and visit these other churches.
Right.
And when they leave their parents' home, it's not pleasant, but sometimes they change, denominations.
Yeah, or change religions altogether. But yeah, you know who we're talking about. So going back to Amy, Amy gets really mad at Alyssa. Alyssa's the person that tried to shed some light on some of this, and boy, she ended up being their punching bag, or so they thought.
Yeah,
She punched back. But Amy starts the persecution. Here we go again with the persecution.
I'm being persecuted.
As for you calling names again, my point has been made again because you're the one attacking us. Alright, let me explain how this works for you.
Wait, just to recap, the attack that she's talking about was the revealing of the religious holiday or background.
Yeah, that's not really Jesus' birthday.
Yeah, and Christmas wasn't recognized as a national holiday until 1870, 1880.
I don't know what year it was.
It was right before the turn of the century. It actually got recognized as a national holiday.
Because the Puritan influence was waning then. The Puritans hated Christmas.
It was not celebrated nationally.
Not for a long time. Let me explain how this persecution works.
Okay.
Alright. So, if I am a Christian and I say to you, you've got to say Merry Christmas. You got to keep Christ in it or else. And I'm going to pray for you because, I just don't see how you don't believe you're going to go to hell, and I'm just going to pray for you. Now, that's not offensive, okay? That's just Christians telling you the way it is. But if an atheist comes up and says, I prefer happy holidays because, I know some of my friends say Merry Christmas, but I know some that don't. So, I'm fine with happy holidays. You're attacking my religion! Well, no, I'm just saying that I don't always use Merry Christmas because, Jesus wasn't born on the 25th. How dare you offend me? You're attacking me. And that's exactly what Amy's doing here.
Yeah.
You're calling us names and attacking us. Where?
Just a little reality check. There are a great number of atheists, or they call themselves atheists, or they're labeled themselves as atheists, that still celebrate Christmas.
Well, sure.
It is a family gathering of happiness, peace, and joy.
Well, I don't know. There are my family.
There are a lot of good aspects about Christmas.
Sure. And we celebrate Christmas.
Whatever you call it, there are a lot of great aspects. And I did, I think it was Piccolo Moment 2. I recapped and just said, I didn't grow up with this holiday. I'm just learning about it. Yeah. But from what I've learned, I see families that do not get to see each other like they used to. Like years ago when families stayed close-knit and tight and they didn't go very far.
Yeah, different now.
And now you got, your kids are, out of state. You don't see them very much anymore. And for one day in the year, Thanksgiving or Christmas, whatever it happens to be, they come home and spend time with their family and everybody catches up. I think that's a good thing. I see a lot of, positive, aspects to this. And I celebrate it.
I do too. And I'm not offended when I go out and see Merry Christmas and I hear the music. And
some of it's actually soothing for this time of year. Of course, if you're stuck in an office and you're listening to the same CD over and over.
Well, that might be different. But in general, it's just not a big deal to most of us. Except that we have to put up with this. And quite honestly, if anything ruins my Christmas, it's having to deal with this shit. And it's always Christians dragging it to my door.
And we have to hurry up and get this done because I promised you a week off.
Alright, so I don't like to make fun of people's bad grammar and spelling because due to some brain trauma I've had, I don't spell as well as I used to anymore. I make mistakes. But honestly, if you're going to put the weight of your argument on this idea that you've done your research, you need to learn how to spell research and everything else. It's got an A in it.
Ow.
As for your awful comment about a dead guy, I will say a long prayer for you. They will threaten you with prayer. And you can always tell the difference. A person who cares about you will have done everything they can do to help you, and then they'll say, well, I'll go to God for you, or I will pray for you, and you can tell they mean it.
They're going to be
These
a character
folks don't
witness
mean
for
it. When they say they're going to pray for you, 9 times out of 10, what they're saying is I'm not really going to pray for you, but I'm going to write this in here because it makes me look so holy and pious. It's going to win me points with my audience. Yeah, screw that. We don't need that.
I didn't hear the crowd clapping. Sorry.
More projection from Amy. Honey, you're the one preaching on FB. There you go again, judging. How is it preaching to just tell you that Jesus wasn't born on the 25th and I don't think he's alive? Is that preaching?
No, that's revealing facts.
And a thing about this Christian judging, Jesus says in the Bible, judge not lest you be not judged, for the measure that you use, that's the measure that will be used on you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Christian. I do judge things. I judge people. I don't mean that in the sense that I just condemn everybody who wears a label I don't like. But what I mean is I do look at people, I look at their words and their actions, and I judge every day whether or not I can trust them, whether or not I should engage with them, and how much. Judgment is a thing that is supposed to be used. It's not that I'm supposed to condemn everybody I don't like, but judging people, and to a greater extent judging information, is crucial. So this whole thing about, I'm not judging, those are usually the people who judge the most. And I mean that in a condemnatory way.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things that I noticed a lot of Christians have, they've tried to reinforce their flock by telling them not to fall for the words that we type out and post, that we are people of proof, whereas Christians are people of faith, and we require proof to change. We require proof to prove our stance, whereas they just rely on faith, and that's all they need.
Well, if that's what they believe, so be it, but don't come to my door expecting me to. And another thing about the judging is I find in so many cases what they really mean is don't judge me. You can go out here and judge these unbelievers, but don't judge me.
Yeah. I'm holier than thou.
Yeah. I gave up my childhood at an early age to give others a better chance at life. You have no clue as how much I help others. And she probably did, and more power to her.
I don't remember anybody doubting her for anything that she gave up for others.
This is part of the Christian persecution complex.
Well, then she's throwing it out there to make herself look.
Yes. I am such a good, moral, decent person, and I have given so much to the community.
Anybody that knows her and knows what she's given up, that should be a reward enough. You shouldn't have to preach it out
for more martyrdom.
Yeah.
How could you attack me and call me names when I'm such a good, giving person? It's just a big, long thing of fail. Yeah. Okay? And she may have given more, than I would even give. And so be it. But you don't get to whine. I'm sorry. That's not the way that works. Okay. Continuing on. If you walked a day in my shoes, you would see Jesus work. I don't judge any. She's got region, but she means religion. It's your choice, but Christmas is the season of Jesus Christ's birth. Reason for the season, no matter whose religion. Religion is nothing compared to Jesus. Lie, lie, lie. And this is a lie we've probably most all of us been guilty of saying. You ever heard somebody say, well, I respect your opinion. I don't judge your religion. That is a lie. We all judge each other's religion. We judge each other's comments. And we don't respect each other's opinions, and we're not supposed to.
There are a lot of people that judge you based on your religion.
Sure.
If you move into a new neighborhood, your neighbors,
what church you go to?
Through basic conversation, will eventually ask you, what church do you go to? And whether it's a friendly church to them or not, they've judged you once you tell them what denomination you are.
Yeah, and the way that I look at this about respecting and judging and all that, you don't owe any respect to any belief or belief system. If it hadn't proven itself, you do not have an obligation to respect it. Don't tell people you respect it. Don't tell people you're not going to judge it, because you are. You don't owe people respect. That has to be earned through behavior. What you do have to respect is people's rights, their right to life, liberty, property. You know, the rights that we've agreed on in the Constitution. That is what you must respect. I don't respect Amy. I don't respect any of her arguments, and right now I don't respect her as a person, having read all the way to the end. I've got no respect for her. But I respect her right to her free speech, her religion, and to live her life without me going over and interfering in it any more than is necessary. You see how that works?
Yep.
That's what I believe. That's the Twinkie D version of respect and judgment.
Respect, judgment, and boundaries.
Yeah, because I've judged her religion. I find it false. I've judged her character based on what I've read. I find it lacking. But she has rights, and I will respect them. All right.
And to this point, I just want to bring out, to this point, in these comments, no one has attacked Amy directly about her religious beliefs or about her person.
No one is attacking.
The only comments that have been made are the background information revealed about Christmas and its history.
But they can't handle it. Alright, here we go. I would also like to apologize if I've made you feel like I was pressing my religion on you. I never posted my religion, but somehow you feel I have. They're not sorry. They're not sorry.
No, but she's praying for you.
All they do is push religion, and she's going to continue to push her religion. Anytime you say, no, you can't say what you want, you got to say it my way because of my religion, you just push your religion.
Yep.
There's no harm in me saying keep Christ and Christmas, and the back and forth started for this. Well, no, there's no harm in it. But guess what? There's no harm in us just saying happy holidays either. So why'd you guys start all that back and forth? Okay, it works both ways.
Yep.
So Keisha chimes in with, your religion you keep harping is worthless. Sorry, just is. And hey, I at least have a little respect for her here because she told the truth.
Yeah.
She thinks, I guess in this case, atheism is worthless. I don't expect anything any different. She's a Christian. Of course she does.
Of course. That's her personal opinion. She's entitled to, but she's putting it out on the page.
What we're going to see as we go along is how it's over here. Oh, you know, your religion is worthless. And over here, well, I didn't disrespect you and your religion. You're the one that disrespected me. So, we know how this game goes.
Calling someone worthless is not disrespecting them. Okay.
Well, she said the religion you're harping is worthless. And so, you know, that's... I totally believe she believes that. And I don't have a problem with that statement. Except for the fact that she's going to turn it back around in here in a minute and go the other way.
Okay.
All right, then Keisha's husband, because I've looked this up, comes in with some Bible verses and talking about the Holy Bible. And Melody, who is a friend of theirs, jumps in because what you don't know, you hadn't seen yet, is that they're on their own pages talking about, I'm going to go over there and leave a comment.
Oh, they got a powwow meeting on their own
they
page.
got it going on over there.
Okay.
They're going to come over here and give us what for.
And how to.
Yeah. So Melody comes on, Jesus is not dead, he's alive, all caps. And Keisha's like, yeah, and I'm going to defend him no matter what. If you don't like it, get over it. What a lovely Christian thing to say.
Yeah, that's pretty much,
Get over it.
layman's terms for I don't give a fuck.
That's right. Not about you. Not about your rights. We're going to say Merry Christmas all up in here, and it don't matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter how you feel. Because I don't care. Well, hey, she's still being honest. I'll give her that.
Yeah.
All right. Why? I have all the evidence I need from the Bible.
A book that has contradicted itself so many times, it makes my head spin.
A book that is full of murder and rape and genocide and
I don't know how you
evil.
can read through it. I mean, I haven't tried lately, but I would probably get sick to my stomach reading some of this stuff. Because as I was growing up, there was a lot of scriptures that I know that were kind of glossed over.
Well, sure. And in the Baptist churches, they're just not read.
And they're made light of. But there's been a few times where someone's mentioned a scripture and it said this. I'm like, I don't quite remember it being said that way. I go look it up. And not only did it say the way they said it, but there was a lot more details to that story, when you put it all in context, that I was just like, whoa. Okay, so they went in and they killed all the men and all the women.
And ripped the children out of the wombs. That was not a scripture.
I would think something that graphic would stick in my mind, but it was glossed over as a child.
Do you wonder if these people just closed their eyes and imagined what it would be like to imagine going over into the next town to run a knife through men and women and to stab a pregnant woman right here below the breastbone and pull that knife down and watch that child spill out with the guts and everything else. And I know that's disgusting.
It is.
But if you close your eyes and think about that, how can you open them and remain the same believer that you were?
God will give them strength.
That's not a God I want strength from. Okay? And now,
sorry.
And now, of course, if you're a religious moderate or liberal, and you understand that, the Bible is not word for word, and that, there's stuff going on, and you take the good and you leave the bad, that's one thing. But I'm talking about these teetotalers, the literalist theocrat fundies who, to them, if God does anything, it's good. No matter how evil it is, it's good.
It was all for a purpose.
If I close my eyes and I see that, I don't understand how you can stay in that. Maybe somebody can explain it to me. But Keisha can, because she's got all the evidence she needs from the Bible. It's the only truth I know, and I choose to believe all of it. True statement.
Okay.
How are you all making it without hope? You'll hear this over and over.
Making it without hope?
How are you making it without hope? Here's a little hint. I have hope.
Well, I do a lot of hope. It's helping others, pleasing everyone. That's my hope.
Yeah.
That I can, do something good for someone else.
Right.
That's my hope.
There you go. That if you could just do a little bit of something good for somebody every day, just kind of pay it forward there.
That's something I was taught as a child. You help others, and that's pleasing others. It's not, no self-gain.
Yeah.
In anything.
And it doesn't mean in the sense that you have to, go out and make sure everybody's taken care of before yourself, but just that I think for most of us, we want to leave this world better than we found it, and we want to make life better for people here.
I know anyone who has a child or is planning on having children, that's definitely something they want to do. They want to leave it for a better place, the yard a little cleaner, so that their child has something, something for their future.
And I have plenty of hope. One of my greatest hopes is that I'll live long enough to learn more about space and time and how that works. Maybe to have a theory of everything, although I don't imagine I'll see it. There are a lot of things that I hope to live for, and I hope to see the human race achieve. But worrying about, tyrannical Sky Daddy, not one of them. But you'll hear it again. How is it you function with no hope? So Amy comes back, and she's back to her drama thing. We don't get to hear or ask of your approval. They don't want our approval. That's okay. We don't want theirs.
Okay.
You're full of drama because all of us were at first commenting to WTVA, and you somehow got your brain to thinking we are putting other religions down. What was it they said a minute ago? Your religion's worthless?
Okay.
We don't care what you think.
The original comments on here that started out from the get-go, they were slamming WTVA for not
having Merry
supposedly
Christmas.
Not having Merry Christmas in the video. But she says that it was someone else putting other religions down. Yeah, we looked back through there. We couldn't find a comment to back up her. And that's one of the things we do. We look for factual statements.
We try.
And if there is a claim that is made, we try and find the facts to prove it,
Well,
whether
it
it's true or
doesn't
false.
matter in this case because we're about to get the ultimate threat.
Uh-oh.
Many have denied my Jesus in the end. He will prove to you, and that you will answer for.
I'm shaking in me knickers.
This is the trump card. This is a believer's trump card. One day, you're going to answer to God for this. You may not answer to me, but you're going to answer to God.
I hope he has call waiting.
I hope he's not as big of a dick as you are. I mean, if these people are jerks. They really are. They're jerks.
So, not very Christianly. Not the way I was
No.
raised.
No, it's not Christian in any way that I recognize, except it's that pseudo-Christianity. And I don't want to get into the true Christian, not too Christian. I'm not trying to make a logical fallacy here, but what I'm saying is that their behavior is so far from anything Christ taught. It's almost unrecognizable in some ways. But going down, she goes back, I'm not judging and I respect your decision. Lie.
She already judged
you don't
us.
Respect, and that's okay. I'm saying if one day we are correct, would it not be better if our prayer were with you than not at all? Ding, ding,
Well,
Pascal's
something.
wager.
I've always wanted to be judged by my own merits,
Yeah.
not because someone prayed for me.
And I'm not going to play Russian roulette either with my eternity. I'm not going to sit here and say, all right, which roll of the dice is best for me? Because the thing of it is, what if I'm wrong and she's wrong? What if the Muslims are right? What if the pagans are right? What if the Greeks of old were right?
It's the Buddhists.
All right, then. So Pascal's wager doesn't work because it's not just between one or two options. It's not either, God's right and I'm doing it right, or there is no God. It's there's no God, there is a God, there are many gods. Maybe they give a shit, maybe they don't. Maybe you're worshiping right, maybe you're not. Maybe you're supposed to sacrifice and you haven't been doing it. There are so many variables. No one is safe trying to roll the dice and get to God. And anybody who would suggest that, I think is dishonest. Because you don't make decisions about things that important by just trying to, hedge your bets and play the dice. So, but that's Pascal's wager. You'll hear it all the time. So Keisha comes back and says, when I do pray, I'll do it when and wherever I like.
Which is perfectly fine, as long as it's not in the
government, yeah. But did anybody tell her she couldn't pray?
I looked. Nothing was mentioned about this.
The only thing that I said was that, Jesus told people not to get in places like this and show their ass and show how holy and pious they were and be hypocrites. And she's taking that now and saying, oh, I'll pray wherever I want to. Okay, you're just disobeying Jesus. If you're not going to listen to him, fuck, why would you listen to me? So, because I do not entertain any other book. Yeah, we know. Public prayer, even on Facebook, is good because whenever two or more join together in prayer, worship, or any other thing that honors Jesus, he assures us of his presence. How does it honor Jesus to disobey what he says? Somebody tell me that.
I have yet to figure that out.
If Jesus says, don't get out in public and make a mockery of this and try to get people's attention and show how holy you are, then if two or three get together and do it, it's not going to make it better. It's going to make it worse. Drives me crazy.
It does.
You obviously want to attack me. No. Actually, I didn't want to attack you. I just wanted to inform you.
Yeah, this bringing to light the facts has become very troublesome when your audience that you're trying to educate or just not really pushing education on them, but just, bringing to light some facts that we found. Basically what we love to do.
And to me, this is the linchpin.
And this is an attack.
To me, this is the linchpin of the whole argument that people create gods in their own image. When someone attacks Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, even now that he's dead, Sam Harris, Rebecca Watson, Steve Novella, any of those people, I don't get automatically offended and, you're talking about Richard Dawkins. How dare you? No, you don't do that. I don't do that. You
No,
know?
I usually grab some popcorn, sit back, and wait for their response.
Yeah, because I'm not Richard Dawkins. But you let somebody say the tiniest little thing about their God, they will lose their shit. Why? Because their God was created in their image. They are the same. Okay? So when you've attacked their God, you've attacked them. That's why you see this hostility. That's why you see this kind of reaction. Once you understand that, you understand what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a massive cult of ego. And that's hard to deal with. And that's why you hear things like this. I don't know what you're doing unless you're putting words in my mouth. I don't have religion. I have freedom in Christ. We've been over that. You got religion.
Unless you're Pentecostal, there's no words being put in your mouth.
Yeah.
I believe that. Is it charismatics?
Pentecostals that speak in tongues.
Oh, okay.
Amy's back with everything I believe. I think she meant I believe. I learned through my own research. There's still an A in it. You're just a hateful person that likes to argue. Now, if she directed that at me, even though I didn't write anything that I meant to be argumentative, but if she was listening to this video and said that to me, I could totally understand. I can be an argumentative bitch. But she was talking to Alyssa, and Alyssa's just trying to explain to them, look, this is the way it is, and I'm not a believer, but, you know, you're a hateful person that likes to argue. You're spreading hate, and I'm not here for that, even though I've been indulging in it this whole time. You were not provoked, because our comments were to WTVA, not you, and you just wanted, and still do, keep the hate and anger going. Really? I mean, at this point, I'm sitting back. It's like the Jekyll and Hyde, you know. Jekyll is face palming and Hyde's back here laughing. It's like, you know, because it's like watching a clown car that's been smashed under a semi. It's heinous and horrible and funny at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, you got the rubber nose out here rolling down the
You're
street.
still waiting for the next con to pop out.
Yeah. I have not once said to you that your religion, is wrong. That your decision, you're the one pressing your religion on us. You're a bully full of hate and anger. Where on here did anyone push atheism on anybody? I know I didn't. I didn't.
Atheism or paganism?
No, nobody did. But we're bullies full of hate and anger. I apologize if I've offended you or your religion. I would love to talk to you with respect. Yeah, 'cause you've done so well up to now. Bullshit. Alright, so let's look at just Amy's page. She's complained because she's had some stalkers. She's had, you know, folks go to her page and continue the conversation. It wasn't me.
Real simple fix. Fix your privacy settings.
Amy and Keisha both have no concept of their privacy settings, so I thought I would just go ahead and make that a self-fulfilling prophecy there about stalkers. I so don't understand this happy holiday stuff. Jesus is the reason for the season. He died for you and I. It should have been me, not I. He suffered horrible beating, pain, murder. What is this fascination with snuff? I mean...
Beating, pain, murder.
Torture, murder, why? We can at least keep Christ in Christmas. I'm boycotting stores, news channel, and anything else that refuses him respect. I guess she's boycotting me. Thank goodness. This is my opinion and my post. If you have something negative to say, use your wall. And when I see your post, I'll pass it by with the same respect. That's not necessarily respect. Merry Christmas, everyone. FYI, Walmart is not one I'm boycotting. I've gotten several Merry Christmases so far this year. You know, boycotting can be a good thing, but this boycotting over Merry Christmas is stupid and petty and fucking childish, and you need to get over it.
Yeah, please see Piccolo's moment too about...
Yeah, and go to our Carrot Mob page, because this is
Carrot
just
Mob.
stupid. And someone responded to her, I don't understand this holiday stuff either. It's still Christmas. Notice the first 4 letters in Christmas? Yeah, C-H-R-I. Cry? She wants me to cry for Christmas? I think I'm well on my way. I still say Merry Christmas and to heck with the rest. Thank you, Adele. So kind and Christian of you. Appreciate that. Now, let's talk about Keisha's not-so-private page, in which the first thing I noticed is she subscribed to a horoscope service. So right under her horoscope for December 14th, she has the verse talking about every spirit that confesses Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is not God. And this is the spirit of Antichrist. It's talking about, how you're supposed to test the spirits to see if they come from God.
Yeah.
But I think any church will tell you that horoscopes are the tool of the devil. So I don't know what church she goes to, but she must have been asleep that day.
Yeah, I think she skipped that class.
So do I take her very seriously? No, I don't.
Sorry, you failed.
Someone on Facebook just referred to my Savior as a dead guy. Let me just say to you that he is seated at the right hand of my Father, and he is alive in my heart. He holds tight to me when I'm crying. Like now. Really, that made you cry? Grow the fuck up. Okay? And I will never stop praising him. Him. Do not call my Jesus dead. I feel so attacked. But he's comforting me right this second. I love Jesus. He saved my worthless self from death. And I just almost want to cry. Because she thinks she was worthless until she found Jesus. I mean, have you ever thought about what it means to be worthless? To feel worthless?
Yeah.
That's not a thing I would wish on any human being, but that's what religion teaches you. This kind of religion teaches you that you are worthless.
You're worthless, you're a sinner, you need God to forgive.
And the only thing that's good in you is whatever bit of Jesus shows through.
Yep.
And she's convinced she's worthless, and she is so hurt and attacked, she's crying because someone called Jesus a dead guy.
Referred to him as a dead guy. I'm sorry, I'm getting picky on it, but she's not even stating the facts correctly.
Well, if she's lying, then shame on her for lying. But if she's telling the truth, how sad is that? How sad is that?
It is.
And so, of course, everybody else is, somebody's attacked you. I'll be praying for her. Yeah, we'll be praying. Because, that's what they do. They call it the prayer posse.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one. I'll lift her up in prayer. I'm ready to stand up. Yeah, I just commented on that status. Waiting for her to comment back. There's your prayer warriors for you. God, people, where did Jesus say, go out and be a dick? Verily, I say unto ye, go ye out and be dicks among men, and turn them all against me, for I don't want them in heaven anyway. I don't think that's what the man said. I'm just saying. Alright, so wrapping this up here. Here we got Melody again. Well, I just commented again. Maybe it'll get her attention. Hey, Melody, you got my attention. You're on a DFFT video. Congratulations.
Yay!
I'm waving at you over here.
Hello.
I'll probably be on the news after this. Lol. But I don't care. I love my Jesus. Alright. Knock yourself out, Melody, because guess what? We think that's okay. That's your First Amendment right.
That's right.
You have every right to say whatever stupid shit on your Facebook that you want to. Congratulations, you've done it. And then Keisha comes back with, I will not apologize, even if I did hurt her feelings. My feelings get hurt a lot, but nothing could hurt me worse than what she said. I bet Jesus told people never to apologize and just hurt their feelings and go on. He said just trample them in the dirt, didn't he?
Yeah, just,
Yeah, it wasn't
walk
turn
on.
the other cheek. It was like, hey, smack them again. Smack them around until they understand how it's going to be up in here. No. There's nothing Christian about this. These are the people who are waging the war on Christmas. These are the people who are ruining Christmas.
Indeed.
So,
For further Christian persecution complexes, I would suggest any of our listeners, they can go to practicaldoubt.com.
Carly's blog.
That's Carly
Excellent.
Mason, who has a wonderful collection of Christian persecution
And get
complex
familiar
clips.
with the tactics.
And
Because you're going to see these again.
It's a very repetitious pattern.
It is. They use the same tactics over and over. They're not true. They don't work. And they're like creationists. They just keep dragging them out.
Mm-hmm.
Dragging them out. Dragging them out. And you're going to have to be ready because one day, if you're out, you're going to go up and smile and somebody's going to say Merry Christmas to you. And if you hesitate a fraction of a second, it's going to be, oh my God, you didn't say Merry Christmas. You say Merry Christmas to me. I got a button. Look here. Look at my button. I bought a box of these from AFA. Just say Merry Christmas to me. This is America. You don't like it, get out.
Is that the $10 or $20 donation?
Yeah, for this freaking suggested ridiculously high donation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've said all that to say this. Pay attention to these persecutions. Pay attention to the tactics. You'll hear it over and over. Do not be surprised when they're used on you. And don't let it cause you to lose your temper. Save that for a video like I do. You know, just write and stay calm and like, yeah, I'm going to save this for my video and then I'm going to freaking go off on somebody.
It makes for good commentary afterwards.
Yeah. But, you know, if you're a new skeptic, a new atheist, then it's really easy to get caught up in their web because they will not answer your questions. Generally, they're not honest actors.
No, they deflect,
they
project.
will not answer your questions, and like Nathan says, they're going to deflect and they're going to throw out as much crap as they can and see what sticks. And when none of that works and all else fails, they're going to start attacking you and talking about how awful you are for attacking them. Be ready. Be on your guard, because that's the way this crazy new class of martyrs, that's the way they work. So, that being said, I strongly recommend that you go and look at the WTVA's little video. It was just as cute as it could be, and I didn't see a thing in the world wrong with it. I enjoyed it.
Nothing wrong with either one of them.
Yeah, they were just gorgeous little videos. So, you know, it just, 30 seconds worth of a smile. It was really nice. So I encourage you to take a look at that. And
send WTVA some love for being diverse.
Yeah, and if
inclusive.
You want to read the whole thing instead of just the clips, you know, just make sure we didn't take anything out of context or misrepresent anybody, I definitely encourage you to do that.
Yeah, double check us.
Our word for it.
And if you see something that we missed, please let us know. Send us some feedback.
That's right. So anyway, I'm done complaining about this, and hopefully that's going to take me through this year. I'm hoping any other Christmas stuff I do before now and then is going to be a little more upbeat. But I just really needed to gripe about this because this is getting on my last nerve. And I'm tired of having Christmas ruined for me by people who want to act this way.
Less than a week away.
Less than a week away, and you know what? This is going to be a good week for me. I'm going to have a good time.
You got a week off.
That's right. Looking forward to it.
It means I got to do the podcast by myself.
Uh-oh.
Maybe I'll get the cat to proof it for me.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
So, this is Twinkie D.
And Nathan Piccolo.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.